Today, Studsvik released its first quarter result for 2026. A financial stable quarter with investments for the future. Karl Thedéen, President and CEO of Studsvik, please tell us a little bit about the highlights about the financials.
Well, Q1 of 2026 has been a very interesting quarter, so let me start with the financials. We came out with a slight growth in local currencies of 4.1%. However, the operating margin was a bit of a disappointment at 5.4%. That is compared to a stronger quarter last year where we also had some one-off effects. Typically, Q1 for Studsvik is a seasonally weaker quarter. So with that in mind, we are pretty pleased with this quarter also from an operating margin point of view.
Within Studsvik, you have 3 business areas. Please tell us a little bit about the development within these areas.
Yes, certainly. So let me start out west, where we have our headquarters for our software business, Studsvik Scandpower. In Studsvik Scandpower, we saw basically a quarter with flat sales compared to the same period last year. However, in local currency, we saw a growth of 16.6%. So we are having a strong headwind with the currencies at this time. Operating margin was slightly down. The most encouraging with this business area this quarter is that we started to see more material sales from the Blackstar Tech acquisition that we did basically a year back. So that is very encouraging. If we then continue to Europe and to Germany, where we headquarter our decommissioning and radio protection services business area, that was also a quarter with basically stable sales. But very encouraging is that we saw from reasonably low numbers, we saw a doubling of the profitability. And we also see a better booking situation here in some of the areas that were weaker in 2025, namely engineering services and dismantling. Last, but actually largest business area of the 3 is fuel, materials and waste technology, headquartered just south of Stockholm at our site in Studsvik. Here we also saw a stable top-line development and a slight decline in our operating margin. We remain with a very strong backlog of orders there, and we see a high demand for our services, specifically in material testing and fuel testing, but also in our waste technology services. So I think all in all, a stable quarter with some good highlights.
So Karl, it's been an intense quarter with investments in different areas. And one is the acquisition of Kärnfull Next. Why is this an important milestone for you?
Well, it's a very interesting step for Studsvik as a group. We're buying a company that have expertise in developing nuclear power and the sites alongside those in a totally new way that has not really been seen in the nuclear development in the past. And by that, we will put ourselves in the heart of development of nuclear power at different sites in Sweden. And that will give us, first of all, a possibility to make money out of those developments. But secondly, it will also give us a lot of insight into new build, understanding the new technologies, understanding how you build them. And around that, we can build new services and find new products to support also these kind of projects outside the Swedish borders. So it's multiple strategic wins with actually acquiring Kärnfull Next. And that will give us a fantastic position as the world is tripling nuclear power over the coming 30 years.
You've also signed 2 important partnerships this quarter. Please elaborate.
Yes, very interesting. Let me start with sort of a little bit new area for us, the fusion energy sector, which is developing fast in the US, in Europe, with huge investments in many, many countries. Also on our home market in Sweden, we have a very interesting company called Novatron Fusion Group that is developing a fusion reactor. And we have signed a memorandum, we understand with them, a partnership to support them and with the development of their technology. Namely in, for example, material technology, which is a very important part for fusion reactors. In addition, we continue to make strides into the SMR market, and we have expanded our partnership with Rolls-Royce SMR by signing an MOU to elaborate and explore more opportunities to support them as they continue to win contracts and build SMR projects throughout Europe.
We've also seen some historic milestones regarding nuclear power in Sweden and beyond. Please tell us about this.
Well, if you started in Europe at the Nuclear Energy Summit in Paris this quarter, several world leaders or European leaders were talking about the importance of energy and also the importance of security and resilience in energy production. And obviously with that, supporting the build out and increase of nuclear power as it makes us more and more independent from, for example, oil and gas. Specifically in Sweden, there was also a new law going to come in place where they lift the ban on building nuclear power stations on other places than the existing 3 that we currently have. As a consequence of this very important change in the legislation, Canful Next, that soon will become a company of Studsvik, handed in their application to build an SMR campus at the site just close to the small city of Valdemarsvik on the Swedish east coast. So a couple of things that shows that politicians are continuing to take and support and make it easier for us and others to develop nuclear power energy.
So any concluding remarks?
Well, yet another very interesting quarter, and I would like to extend my gratitude to all my employees that work hard for Studsvik and their commitment and their engagement in serving our customers. Also to our partners throughout the world, our customers, to also put in the faith and doing business with Studsvik. And it's an interesting industry, and we will continue to strive in the coming quarters.
Thank you, Karl, and thank you all for listening. And we look forward to see you on July 17 when we announce the Q2 report.